My ears pricked up when I heard this. Former England striker Darren Bent back alongside Andy Goldstein this afternoon from 4 o'clock. But yesterday, Darren was on fire. He had this to say about Harry Kane.
Newcastle have certainly got the financial capabilities of bringing someone like Harry Kane in.
And they love a number 9 up there.
They do, because they've got Callum Wilson, but it's obviously injuries, but he's been brilliant. They've got Isaac as well. They're just one that you have to take seriously now. First of all, where they are in the league, but the finances to back it as well, because they can go to places maybe that other clubs will go, no.
That was Darren Bent. I mentioned Ray Parlour is with me. So too is legendary manager Neil Warnock. Neil, what about Bent's comments? Harry Kane, a better chance maybe of winning trophies at Newcastle than at Spurs. What do you think?
Yeah, he's probably right. Especially with the future coming up. I mean, I tipped him in pre-season, Jim, to finish in top 4, and everybody thought I were going round twist. But they've just sustained that. And I mean, the defensive situation of the night, as good as I've seen, against a very good Arsenal side. So I just think, I mean, if they could get, I always thought Man City, if they could get Kane when that come up last year. But look what they've done instead. I mean, wow, Haaland is unbelievable, isn't he? But if they could get Kane, Newcastle, that would be fantastic. But that's going to cost. Imagine dealing with Daniel Levy about Harry Kane. They want 250 million, won't they?
Those would be protracted negotiations, I'm quite sure. We're going to stay with Newcastle. They take on Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow in the third round of the FA Cup. They go into this one third in the Premier League. Can you believe that? Third in the Premier League. Should they be focusing more on the league, or what about the Cup? Is it a nice distraction for them, or does it remain a priority? Go all the way and win the thing. Let's ask the very man who last lifted silverware with Newcastle. I am delighted to say the legend that is of the North East, former Newcastle captain Bobby Moncur is with us. Bobby, good morning.
Good morning to you boys.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning. Ray Parlour's with me. So too Neil Warnock. Neil, you'll remember this fellow when he played. He's a great hero of mine.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't get any bigger heroes than Bobby in Newcastle. I think he'll be pleased at last. I mean, the number of years they've been in, really the paupers and not giving the fans. I'll just tell a story, Bobby, about when I was at Chesterfield. When I was 18, we played the Central League game at Newcastle, and a chap called Dave Blakey was on the bus with me. He used to wear the old toe caps, the old solid toe cap. But he pulled me before we got up there. We got Scotch corner, and he said, "Neil, don't get worried about when you get to the ground." I thought, what's he talking about? A reserve match for Chesterfield. There were 14,500 people, Bobby, watching a Central League game at Newcastle. I'd never seen anything like it, and it always sticks in my mind. They're just the most amazing fans, aren't they?
Well, to be fair, Neil, that's no surprise to me. That I've been down here nearly 60 years, and I think we've been waiting so long for a bit of success. And we've had a little, and so Bobby was here, Kevin was here, we did okay, but we haven't actually, as Jim says, we've not won a trophy since 1969, and that's just not good enough for Newcastle United. And the fans now are absolutely, and up here now, it's absolutely buzzing. I'm still happy. Neil, as you know, you get on a bit in life, you're thinking, am I going to see anything happening here before I kick the bucket? Yeah. And I think now it's happening in grand style as well. There's so many things, so many positives at the football club. And to be fair, Amanda and Merdad and the group that came in, everything's done very, very professional. I go around when I go to the ground now during the day. There's bodies everywhere. People, what does he do? Well, that's what they do. And I'm confused at times the number of new people who've came in the club. But that's the professionalism, and I think that goes right. Obviously, getting Eddie Howe was fantastic, and I think I always liked him as a young sort of up-and-coming manager. Maybe a bit like yourself a lot of years ago.
Yeah, I know. He's done really well, and you look at Newcastle, Ray. I don't know about you, but playing up there, it was also a gold start for them. I mean, they're almost. You could get another 50,000, sell another 50,000 tickets, couldn't you?
Well, it's amazing.
If you got the space.
It's amazing at the Emirates the other night. See the passion when they was getting corners in that where the Newcastle fans were. Yeah. The passion they show. Trying to suck the ball into the centre net and. They've been absolutely magnificent.
I'm not sure they should be allowed to take the shirts off, Ray, some of them.
You had a couple of 8 or 9 year olds taking their shirts off as well. They're getting taught well at the moment up in the North East. But I just want to ask Bobby, I mean, you must be very impressed, Bobby, with the defensive unit, because I played in some great sides with a great defence, the back four, the famous back four for Arsenal. And if you don't concede many goals, you've always got a chance of nicking one. And they've only conceded 11 goals all season in the Premier League. And that for me, that's why they're so successful at the moment and third in the league.
Well, I think you made a very good point in that, and that's one of the things I was going to say. That's been one of their strengths. You know, you've got Trippier, who's came in, who's absolutely terrific player, but also a very good organiser. I think he's the man at the back. In fact, he's the man they all look to. And then Sven Botman and Byrne, giants of guys there. I look at them. You know, I used to be quite big when I played, but if I look at them, I'm looking up about 6-7 inches. So, and you know, I think that the signings have been great, and I think. Going back to the days when Joe Harvey was manager, he used to build his side from the back. You know, he had myself, Frank Clark, David Craig, John McNamee, Ollie Burton. And then we used to just go out and battle out. And of course, lucky enough, we had Malcolm McDonald a lot of the time and Wyn Davis, who we might scramble a 1-0 victory away from home. But that's what we did. We just defended, got the chance and scored a goal. And the team I'm looking at now is very similar, albeit I think they've got some great players in the middle of the park as well. But the thing I'm worrying a little bit about is, you know, at the goal scoring, you can defend as good as you like, but you need somebody like a Mark McDonald or Wyn Davis to win you, or a Pop Robson to win you the game. That's the difference. And I think maybe we're just a little bit short, you know. And Chris Woods came in and done a decent job, but he's not the total answer. Callum Wilson, who I rate very, very highly, and the biggest compliment I can pay to him is that I think he reminds me very much of Pop Robson, who you remember, Neil.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Great goal scorer. Never got a lot of credit for it, but I think someone who can just put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what wins you the 3 points instead of just getting the one. So hopefully, and I believe that is the case, we'll maybe have to look. I know we've got the young boy, Saka, that was signed some time, but he's been injured. Isaac, he's been injured. I haven't seen much of him, but they paid quite a lot of money for him. So maybe they're relying on him. I just hope he gets back sooner rather than later.
Well, Neil Ray, just before Christmas, when I was up there with you, Bobby, it was a Villa game, right? And you know, Newcastle played very, very well indeed. They won that out of sight that day. But Bobby, what's going on at the club? You know, at half-time, the club said to me, do you want to go up and see Bobby Moncur? You don't want to go before you see him. I said, I'd love to see him. I was walked through a sea of people, Bobby, to get near you in that suite you were sitting in. And the same all the way back. What's going on at the club, Bobby? There's something magical happening there, isn't there?
But Jim, what you don't realise, you're a very well-known character. That's why they were all surrounding you.
Oh, it wasn't me, mate. They all wanted to chat to you. It was fabulous. Amanda Staveley was the same. You were surrounded by people. Everybody feels part of this, Bob.
Well, that's the big thing. I think Amanda and Merdad came in and they've made it. It's their club, if you like, but obviously they realise it's a supporters club, and they make everybody welcome. No matter, they even made you welcome. There you go, Jim. That's how good it is.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.